Welcome back to Yehoshua's Daf Yomi Shiur, where the Daf continues daily until the complete revelation of Mashiach ben David, Messiah the son of David. Today we'll be looking at Tractate Chullin, page 79b, top of the page, with the words V'simonim de Oiraiso. V'simonim de Oiraiso, and in addition he holds that these distinguishing characteristics apply by Torah law, such that they may be relied upon to allay concerns of violating even a prohibition that is mandated by Torah law. Tanu Rabbanon, the sages taught in Hebraiso, in Tosefta 5.1. Tanu Rabbanon oiso v'es benoi, noyeg b'chlayim u'b'choi. Some people say kvi. Some people say koi. Some people say kvi. And I've heard this before, and I thought this myself. I don't know which came first, but the fact that koi and kvi has a dispute about what you call it contributes to the meaning of its name. It's an animal that we don't know the status of it. So even the way you call it has a dispute, so it's kind of interesting. But anyway, Oises benoy b'chlayim b'choi, b'dezem b'chlayim b'bamenais b'narachel. Oises benoy noeg, boy koi, ein oises benoy noeg boy. Omer Rav Chizda ezehu koi shenech l'chubo. Rabbi Eliezer v'chachomim. So the sages taught in Brisa, just to go back, into Tosefta 5.1, the prohibition against slaughtering an animal itself and its offspring applies to the offspring of different kinds of animals. So even if you have like a mixture, like a mutt of something, or like a mutt's a dog. Is a mutt a dog or is a mutt any mixture? I think a mutt's a dog. Anyway, a mixture, I'm not sure, but if you have a mixture of a goat and a EWE, the U. Okay, I don't know what that's called, but then there's a koi. A koi is like I said before, or a kvi, is an animal that has the status of a behema in some cases, and like a domesticated animal, and the status of a chaya, of an undomesticated animal. In some other cases, some people say it's like a deer and a goat or something like that. It's a blend of something, but its status is kind of ambiguous. So even though the prohibition does not apply to undomesticated animals, but it does apply to a koi because a koi has both properties. Rabbi Eliezer says, with regard to a hybrid that results from a mating of a goat and a ewe, the prohibition of a mother and its offspring applies with regard to a koi. The prohibition of a mother and its offspring does not apply. I remember a long time ago, there was some woman who came to my house who was either a cleaning lady or some kind of helping out do something in the house. Her name was Koi. I remember that. A long time ago. Maybe 40 years ago. Koi. Yeah. I don't know if she was Cambodian or Vietnamese or whatever. Maybe Korean, I don't know. But Koi, that was her name, Koi. With regard to Koi, the prohibition of a mother and its offspring does not apply. Rav Chizda says, what is the Koi about? Which Rabbi Eliezer and the rabbis disagree. Is it that which results from the mating of a goat and a doe? Oh, no, I'm sorry, they're saying, it is that which results from the mating of a goat and a doe. I think that's a koi, a goat and a female deer. A male goat and a female deer. Doe a deer, a female deer, mated with a goat, and came out a koi. Okay, continue. Hechidami ilema v'taish, habo al atzvio, v'yoldo, v'koshochid livroi, v'livro v'homar v'chizdo, hakol moidim, v'yitzvio, uvonotaish, shepoto, The Gemara asks, what are the circumstances surrounding the birth of this koi? If we say that it is the result of a goat that mates with a doe and she gives birth, and one slaughters her and her offspring on the same day, that is difficult. But doesn't Rav Chizda say, all concede in the case where she is a doe and her offspring is a goat because she mated with a goat, and that one who slaughters them both on the same day is exempt from lashes for violating the prohibition of a mother and its offspring. He is exempt because the merciful one states, and whether it be a bull or a sheep, you shall not slaughter it and its offspring both in one day. Leviticus 22:28, indicating that the prohibition applies to a domesticated animal and its offspring, but not to an undomesticated animal and its offspring, such as a doe and its offspring. Ela b'tzvi habo ala tayosho v'yoldo. Ela b'tzvi habo ala tayosho v'yoldo v'koshochet lo v'divro. Ve'omer Chizda kol moedim ve'hi tayosho v'tzvi shechayov ze amalachmona benoi kol dehu. Rather, perhaps this koi is the product of a deer that mates with a female goat, a male deer and a female goat, and she gives birth. And one slaughters her and her offspring on the same day. But doesn't Rav Chizda say, all concede, that in the case where she is a goat and her offspring is a deer, because she mated with a deer, that one who slaughters them both on the same day is liable. He is liable because the merciful one states in the Torah, a sheep and its offspring. Leviticus 22:28, indicating that the prohibition applies to a domesticated animal, such as a sheep and its offspring of any species, even if it is an undomesticated animal. Le'oilam b'taish habo ala tzvio v'yoldo bas ubas yoldo ben because shachilo levelivra. The Gemara responds, actually, the dispute between Rabbi Eliezer and the rabbis is in the case of a goat that mates with a doe, and she gives birth to a female offspring, a koi, and this female offspring gives birth to a male offspring, and one slaughters her and her male offspring on the same day. Rabbanon Savri Choshishin Lezera'av V'seh V'afilu Miktsas Seh V'Rabbi Eliezer Sovar Ein Choshishin Lezera'av V'seh V'afilu Miktsas Seh Lo Emrinon. The rabbis hold one needs to be concerned with its paternity, and therefore the koi is partially a goat due to its father. And the word sheep in the verse means that even if it is partially a sheep, meaning a domesticated animal, it may not be slaughtered with its offspring in a single day. And Rabbi Eliezer holds one need not be concerned with its paternity, and the status of the koi is unaffected by the fact that its father is a goat. And therefore, in this case, we do not say that the word sheep mentioned in the verse means that even if it is partially a sheep, it may not be slaughtered with its offspring in a single day, as the father's component is ignored. The Gemara challenges, and let them disagree with regard to any animal of mixed breed, about whether one needs to be concerned with its paternity, meaning with regard to the issue that is the subject of a dispute between Hanani and the rabbis, whether the prohibition against slaughtering an animal and its offspring on the same day also applies to a father and its offspring, because one needs to be concerned with an animal's paternity. The Gemara responds, if they would disagree only about that issue, I would say, with regard to this issue of a doe mother and a goat father, even the rabbis concede that we do not say that the word sheep mentioned in the verse means that even if an animal is partially a sheep, meaning a domesticated animal, it may not be slaughtered with its offspring in a single day. Therefore, the Braita teaches us that according to the rabbis, not only does one need to be concerned with paternity, but the word sheep indicates that even if it is partially a sheep, meaning a domesticated animal, it may not be slaughtered with its offspring. V'hoditnan koi ein shochatin oso b'yom tov im shochato ein mechasin damoi. The Gemara challenges, but that which we learned in a Mishnah in 83b appears to contradict this. One may not slaughter a koi on a festival because covering its blood entails the performance of a prohibited labor that is permitted only if there is a definite obligation to do so. And if one slaughtered a koi on a festival after the fact, one does not cover its blood, as the sages prohibited transporting soil on a festival where it is uncertain that a mitzvah of Torah by Torah law exists. V'mayaskinon ilim betaish habol etzvi avyoldo bein rabonun ubein l'Rav Eliezer l'shchoit v'lichsi tzvi v'afilu miktzas tzvi. The Gemara explains the question: what are we dealing with? If we say that we are dealing with a goat who mates with a doe and she gives birth, then whether according to the opinion of the rabbis or according to the opinion of Rabbi Eliezer, let him slaughter the koi on the festival ab initio and cover the blood, as the mother of the koi is a deer. And the koi therefore may be termed as an undomesticated animal whose blood requires covering. This should be so even if it is partially a deer, meaning it has an undomesticated animal component from only one parent, since all agree that the offspring species derives from its mother. Rather, we must be dealing with a case of a deer that mates with a female goat and she gives birth. This too is difficult. If the Mishnah is in accordance with the opinion of the rabbis that one needs to be concerned with paternity, let him slaughter this koi on the festival ab initio and cover the blood, as it is partially an undomesticated animal due to its father. If the Mishnah holds, in accordance with the opinion of Rabbi Eliezer, then one need not be concerned with paternity, let him slaughter the koi on the festival, ab initio, means l'chatchila, and not cover the blood, as it should be considered a domesticated animal whose blood does not require covering due to its mother, who is a goat. Le'olam b'tzvi yabol ateyosho v'rabonon sepokim yisapke lehu yichosheshin lezera'av ein chosheshin. The Gemara concludes that actually this Mishnah is in accordance with the opinion of the rabbis, and it is referring to the case of a deer who mates with a female goat. And the rabbis do not say with certainty that in determining the species of an animal one must be concerned with paternity, but rather the rabbis are simply uncertain whether one needs to be concerned with its paternity or one need not be concerned. Therefore, they rule that one should not slaughter it on a festival ab initio in order to avoid a possible prohibition, and if one did slaughter it, he should not cover the blood to avoid violating a prohibition in order to perform an uncertain mitzvah. The Gemara infers, and from the fact that the rabbis are uncertain, and therefore they rule that the prohibition of itself and its offspring applies to a koi, it can be inferred that according to the opinion of Rabbi Eliezer, who rules that the prohibition of itself and its offspring does not apply to a koi, it is obvious that, with regard to a koi resulting from a deer mating with a female goat, one need not be concerned with its paternity at all. V'hoditanya haziroa v'alechai v'akevo noagim b'choi u'b'chlaim. Rabbi Eliezer Omer ki laim abo min ha'ez u'min ha'ochel chai b'matonois min ha'koi patur min ha'matonois. The Gemara asks, but according to this, that which is taught in the Braita, C2 9:1 presents a difficulty. The mitzvah to give the foreleg, the jaw, and the maw of non-sacred animals to a priest applies to a koi and the offspring of diverse kinds of animals. Rabbi Eliezer says a hybrid that results from the mating of a goat and a ewe is obligated to have gifts of the priesthood given from it. A hybrid that results from a koi is exempt from having gifts of the priesthood given from it. The Gemara analyzes the Braita. What type of koi are we dealing with here? If we say that we are dealing with a goat who mates with a doe and she gives birth, granted this is consistent according to the opinion of Rabbi Eliezer, who deems it exempt from having the gifts of the priesthood given from it, as he holds. Now we do not say that the word sheep, see Deuteronomy 18:3, means that even if it is partially a sheep, one must give gifts of the priesthood from it, as paternity is ignored from this koi, is considered solely the offspring of a doe, exempting it from having gifts given from it. Nihi kasavri seva filu mitzase bishlam palgelo yogle idach palgele male I say the choishin lezera ushkoil. But according to many of the rabbis, even if it is granted that they hold that the word sheep means that even if it is partially a sheep or any type of undomesticated animal, one is obligated to give gifts of the priesthood from it. Why should the owner of this koi be required to get the gifts to a priest? Granted, he does not give the priest half of the gifts, since half of the koi, meaning its mother's component, is an undomesticated animal. But with regard to the other half as well, let him say to the priest, bring proof that one needs to be concerned with its paternity and take that half, otherwise receive nothing. Rather, we are dealing with a case of a deer who mates with a female goat and she gives birth. Granted, this is consistent according to the opinion of the rabbis, who say that one is obligated to give gifts of the priesthood from it. As what is meant by obligated, it means it is obligated in half of the gifts, since on its mother's side the goat component is subject to the obligation to give the gifts. With regard to the other half of the gifts, he can tell the priest, bring proof that one need not be concerned with paternity and take it. But according to the opinion of Rabbi Eliezer, who says that one need not be concerned with paternity at all, such that this koi would be considered a domesticated animal like its mommy. I just had to do that. Okay, let's go back. Since the koi would be considered a domesticated animal like its mother, let the owner be obligated in all of the gifts. Why then does Rabbi Eliezer deem him exempt? L'oilam b'tzviyah bo'alat yashiv yoldo Rabbi Eliezer nami tzvokim b'sapkele in choshin lezera v'idi oilo v'keven el rabbanim b'sapkele hu v'Rabbi Eliezer b'sapkele my pligi. The Gemara answers actually is referring to a deer who mates with a female goat and she gives birth. And Rabbi Eliezer is also uncertain whether in determining the species of an animal one needs to be concerned with its paternity or not. The Gemara asks, but since the conclusion is that the rabbis are uncertain and Rabbi Eliezer is uncertain, in what case do they disagree, where Rabbi Eliezer deems the owner exempt from giving the gifts entirely? To be continued.